Okay. Hello, everybody. Welcome, Healed listeners. I am Robin Denton with the Healed podcast. Thank you for joining us. And I want to, first of all, tell you what we're going to be talking about. Today's podcast is going to be a little different than our normal story of healing because of this virus and that is happening here now in 2020. And because of everything reopening, we need to know what to do to help ourselves stay well. So today we're going to be talking about a protocol for prevention of COVID-19 and a possible treatment that you could use if you cannot get the hydroxychloroquine. So we're going to talk about those three things. And I want to introduce my guest to you, Shannon St. Laurent.
Yes.
Yes. Welcome. Shannon is the owner and manager of Hills Health Hut in Jefferson City, Tennessee. And I had run in there the other day to get some supplements, and it ended up that she said we were talking about the COVID and the prevention, and she knew something and I knew something different, and we kind of put it together and said, hey, everybody needs to know this. So today's podcast is not just a great story that to inspire you for your own healing, but everybody needs to know this. So if you are listening, if you will share this out, and I know once this hits social media, I know it's going to get crazy. Knocked off. Yes, I'll probably go to social media jail or whatever as soon as this is released. So we need to share this out because as many people as possible need to know this information. What's going on in our country is very serious and scary, and there are things to do about it. So a lot of people feel scared and helpless, and they don't need to.
Right.
So, a disclaimer. Shannon or I, neither one have a medical degree. We are not doctors or nurses. We do not prescribe medicine. We do not cure, diagnose, or prevent any disease or illness.
Okay.
So I want to make that clear. It is up to you to do your own research and your own due diligence in finding what works for you and your health.
Because everybody's body is different.
True. Yeah. Absolutely true. Not only, though, is your body different, I'm kind of a supplement snob. There's a big difference in the supplements that you buy. If you're running out to your local corner store or a big market store, big box store, your supplements that you are getting are not a great quality. And the problem with that is that your body cannot process well the ingredient that you need. And not only that, it's also filled with chemicals and things that you don't need that your body has to try to rid itself of. So supplements are not created equal, and you need to make sure that you're getting good, organic, quality supplements.
Yeah.
And the other thing I want to say before we get started is that you cannot out-supplement your food. Your food is your number one source of medicine. Mm-hmm. Everything that you need, you should be able to get in food. We just don't have great sources of good organic food available to us. But
high volume.
Yes. But if you're eating a ton of junk, taking a supplement is not a
replacement. No.
Yeah. No, it's not a replacement. You can waste a lot of money doing that. So You need to do both.
I'll get in depth with that when we're talking about the different ones and why.
Okay, sounds good. All right, so first of all, Shannon's going to tell us the protocol for prevention of COVID. And those three things are vitamin C, vitamin D3, and zinc. So which one of those are you going to tell us about first?
I'll probably start with zinc just because there is a slight difference for men and women, because zinc being a true mineral, and this is why we talked first about food, you not outsourcing food. So minerals are kind of the foundation of all of your cells, hormones, and enzymes. So zinc is one that helps promote testosterone. In addition to boosting your immune system, it plays a lot of roles being so for women, you really, prevention-wise, you don't want to go too high over 30 milligrams prevention-wise, so that way it gets to the foundation of what your body's needing, as well as aiding your immune system and strength. For men, they can go to 50 as a daily, and it won't affect them because their bodies love testosterone. So.
Yes. Okay. And do you want to show us what kind of zinc you have?
So this is one of our favorites. This one is a 50 milligram, but for women, 25 to 30 is perfect for the prevention dose. So that way they're, one, not getting too much that would cause any kind of disruption in their hormone production, but at the same time still giving them a good solid foundation for their immune system. And this is one of the companies that we like a lot that has the least amount of allergens. They're GMO, they're organic, they're well trusted, and they're very, very, very good.
Okay, and so that's a 50 milligram. Is that a tablet that you could break in half for a woman?
That's why I kind of brought this one too, because you can see it. It's a very tiny capsule. The hard part with children is going to be finding chewables. Like one of the companies that is decent, even though they are now corporate owned, is Nature's Way. They make a lozenge that's at least 7.5 milligrams. So for kids, you kind of want to give them a third, definitely no more than half of the adult dose. So you can take something like this it's not Nature's Way, but it's a gummy that has at least 2 and plus our third super food elderberry in it, and it is a gummy. My kids absolutely love it, and it's more like grape flavored. It's just a tiny, tiny gummy.
Okay.
The lozenges are also chewable and dissolve, pretty much in your mouth. So those are 2 good ways for kids.
So tell me, for women, does that come in a 25 milligram capsule?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And there are several other companies that are still organic, certified, and good trusted that have that. And if you can't find it exact, as long as like you take, say, 215 milligrams. To equal 30. So as long as your daily equals that, it's okay to do it in broken doses as well. Because your body actually loves broken doses in many, many ways.
Okay. So that's the zinc. What's next?
So D3, or even vitamin D, there's really not too many differences between vitamin D and D3. D3 is just one of their extracted names for vitamin D. Everyone who prefers which one, it's more about finding the one that works the best in absorption.
Okay.
Individual, not that one's better than the other, because we'll go back to the whole food source thing. So our main source is sun. So anything that is dark green, that gets a lot of sun, that creates chlorophyll, usually is very rich in D3 as well. So those are kind of your food ways of getting D3. Like we know oranges have the most vitamin C, but same thing. It doesn't, so for people who can't have that much acidity, you also get high vitamin C in your greens as well.
I know. I do want to say about D3 that D3 is one of the harder vitamins for our bodies to supplement and actually absorb. So
and keep, yes.
So there's no replacement for getting outside in the sun for 30 minutes a day. So,
and honestly, with the least amount of sunscreen, because sunscreen actually blocks your skin's ability to absorb D3 and convert it.
Yes. So outside 30 minutes, even if it's cloudy, no sunscreen.
Or one that's very organically made.
And if you people at home, if you want to do your research there, I know the recommended daily allowances for vitamin D are a whole lot lower than probably what you actually need of that vitamin.
And a lot of people are D deficient.
Yes, that's very, very common have a D deficiency, but if you get it checked, your level will say it's okay because there's so little required. But that is a big issue for a lot of people.
Yes.
Okay.
It's considered one of the police officers of the bloodstream. That's why it works so well.
Yes. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I like that. Okay.
Thanks.
Yeah. And then, so same for men and women are the same on that one. Yeah. And then children.
Children, as long as they do make gummies of D3, and it's usually paired with an omega oil, which is even better. Mm-hmm. So any way that you can get D3, because they make them sublingual, they make them in soft gels. The one I brought is a soft gel. It's really small. So the only ones that probably wouldn't be able to swallow that would be smaller children. But teens, if they just use juice or something that's thicker and it's more of a mind over matter thing.
Yes.
They can swallow it. It is easy to swallow.
And some D3s come in a liquid form too. So that's an option if you've got one. I don't think I could swallow a pill before I was out of hospital. It was sad. But anyway, okay. And then vitamin C.
Yeah, vitamin C, same thing. Comes in gummy, comes in powder. The 1,000 milligrams is what you want it to equal preventatively. 500 for children is the preventative milligram goal. And 5,000 was the D3 for preventative goal, because I don't think we mentioned that a second ago.
We did not.
Yeah, so this is the one I brought, because again, it's clear, so you can kind of see that they're capsuled and not, I mean, I'm getting close to the camera, but it's not overly,
I can say that.
It's not overly huge. I have a hard time swallowing big pills, and I can swallow these. And Country Life has been one of the ones I've personally known for over 30 years. I'm only 36, so they are very, very good and reputable, and have been around for a long time and do very good quality control testing. So,
and I think we've all heard too about all the benefits of vitamin C. It's an amazing supplement.
The thing that most people aren't advertising about this particular virus is that even though it's affecting the lungs first, it actually affects your bloodstream more. And what it's doing is it's taking the iron out of your hemoglobin and creating a free radical virus with the iron. And so that's why it acts like malaria. But most people who have weak lungs, allergies, sinus, asthma, those kind of things, it affects their lungs first, just because they can't absorb enough oxygen. Because without the iron and the magnetism it creates, our blood cells can't carry that much oxygen to the lungs and allow us to have basic function. So that's where the damage is coming in full force.
Which is also why the hydroxychloroquine has worked so well for some people.
Correct.
Yes. Okay, and we'll get into that.
And then why these three are having the most impact is because they are the police officers of the bloodstream.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love it. So the 3 supplements that you need, the protocol that is recommended is vitamin C, vitamin D3, and zinc.
Yes.
And now we're going to talk a little bit about colloidal silver, which is one of my favorites. And I brought it to share.
Yes.
And then again, I want to point out that this is Sovereign Silver, which
My favorite. Yeah.
I've already clarified that I'm kind of a supplement snob, so that's the only silver that I will use.
Me too.
Okay. It's definitely a superior product. And talk a little bit about the silver.
So the difference between colloidal silver and our Sovereign Silver is they make it more sublingual, meaning that the actual size, because silver is a mineral, it is heavy metal, and it is a large molecule. So you have to think of all your teeny tiny little cells and if they can actually carry the load of what you're taking. So that's why I say your body does love broken up doses, sometimes a lot better than big heavy things, because we go through cycles of absorption. So Sovereign Silver has a 10 ppm, which is parts per million, is what that means. And it is actually broken down to where I would equivalent it to like a homeopathic of silver, because it's broken down so itty bitty, but has the impact of a high dose.
Now, I've heard this story. I don't know if this is true. This may be completely rumor, but I have heard that silver as a supplement was kind of discovered because a long time ago when people had the Black Plague, they realized that people who were wealthier were not getting it as much because they had their eating utensils were actually made out of real silver, whereas people who were not as wealthy did not have real silver in their eating utensils.
Or they were using wooden spoons instead of iron. Yes.
Mm-hmm. So, okay, that was just a little interesting story. I've always heard that. And so the silver, I have found in my research that there's a lot of controversy around the silver.
Yes.
There's a lot of things online that say that the silver might not be safe, although I've not found a lot of research that specifically states that it wasn't.
More rumor than research, yes.
Yes. And I do know that every functional doctor I've ever known is a big fan of the silver.
Well, for many reasons, because it is one of the safest things that can actually go in every orifice of your body. It can be used for first aid. It can be used as an antibiotic. So even though it's not antiviral, it can be used more as a shield in this case and with this pandemic. So it can be sprayed on your masks. It can be sprayed on your face. It can be put in your eyes. It can, they even Sovereign makes a vertical mist that you can put up your nose. So there's ways of shielding the ways that the virus can come into your body because of it being aerosol, to where you're less likely to even contract it if you are well shielded. That's what And that's the purpose of why people are encouraging the face masks to begin with. So this is another way of adding that shield factor. But in the same sense, it does, because of the size of Sovereign Silver, it aids the bloodstream in its immune defense. So it helps shield the hemoglobin, not just. So it works internally the same way it works externally. And that's what I love about the product, is its versatility.
Yes. If we have any listeners who have diabetic sores and things like that, the silver is great topically.
100%.
It's amazing. But I took mine and put in a nasal spray bottle. And so when I'm in the car, I leave it in the car. So when I go somewhere, if I have to go in the store, I just like do a couple squirts in my nose and then put my mask on and go in.
Yes.
Now the silver, am I correct in saying it's kind of like oregano? It's like a natural antibiotic. Is that correct or no?
Yes. Yes.
So it boosts your immune system in prevention, or it can help if you've already become sick.
Yeah, it's more of upping the dose and doing it more frequently as a way of helping you get over something. So 1 a day would be prevention, up to 6 a day depending on the situation, because with Sovereign there's no overdoing silver, like it'll never turn you blue kind of thing. So it's just upping according to the situation and the symptoms, for helping treatment. Yeah.
Okay. So one little dropper for prevention a day, or up to 6 if you're sick.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
And it can even be added to things like, most people don't know that you can pair silver with aloe to help it actually reach the GI tract if you have a lot of unfriendlies down there.
I did not know that.
Yeah, so about an ounce of like aloe, it has to be the pure aloe vera like juice or gel that's drinkable, with about a tablespoon of silver, and you drink it. It'll attach to the aloe and age your stomach and your GI tract.
I love that. You may have just changed my life, if nobody else's. I'm so excited to hear that. That's amazing. Okay.
That's why it's safe for everywhere.
Yes, everywhere. It goes everywhere. Okay, so the last thing we want to talk about is more of a possible treatment if you've contracted the COVID-19.
Yes.
I'm going to take just a minute. I want to talk about, first of all, the fact that we all know, I think we all heard Trump announce that everybody should take the hydroxychloroquine, that it was great and was working, and our government started doing a lot of trials on it. But those trials, I did some research on this. You can do your own research. The trials were shut down, even though there were no negative consequences, no adverse effects.
Right.
But the trials were shut down because there's a big push to get a vaccine. And I'm not even going to go into talking about the mandated vaccine thing, but the vaccine, and then also these pharmaceutical companies, there's a big push to make a drug just for COVID-19.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of money tied into the vaccine and getting a new drug for this. Right. So what happened, our government has now made it in the United States illegal for doctors to prescribe hydroxychloroquine to COVID-19 patients, even though it has been shown to be effective, and a lot of people are known to have gotten well from taking it. I know some people who have gotten well from taking it. for COVID.
Yes.
So I feel like our politics and our economics are
they're way too married together right now. Yes.
And I feel like the American citizen is definitely not being put first here.
Right.
I know there's not an unlimited supply of hydroxychloroquine, and I know people take it for lupus and rheumatoid arthritis and malaria and things like that. People take that and need it, and I understand that. However, I think it's really wrong for us to have a drug that would treat COVID and people are not getting it and dying.
Yes.
So that's the bad news.
Right.
The good news is that there is a supplement that has the same ingredient, the same
main
ingredient in it as hydroxychloroquine. So that's the one thing I love about natural medicine, is that anytime you think, okay, there's nothing to do about this other than this medicine, or there's no other path other than this, I feel like God just says, wrong. Like there's no better source than me. So He has given us literally everything we need if we are good stewards and use it correctly. And anyway, so tell us, this supplement is called PQQ. Shannon, tell us about what that is.
The active ingredient is quinine. It actually is tree bark. I cannot always pronounce the name of this tree, but it is a plant base. And so quinine, many years ago, especially if you research it, you'll see where it was taken off of the market for a long time because it was becoming very popular and being used for malaria at the time. And it's the main active ingredient that's in the hydroxychloroquine. So it works with our protocol with the vitamin C, the zinc, and the D3 to help the bloodstream fight the virus. And it acts very similar to even charcoal, like a sulfate. So it's a way of drawing out and pulling it from the deepest parts of like your bone marrow, your bloodstream, because I mean, you are literally covered in vessels and capillaries and arteries. And so it takes something that acts more like a magnet to help pull a lot of this out, or something that's high in number, like our vitamin C, zinc, and D3. So it works with your bloodstream. It helps that free radical aspect of the iron and reduces the effect that it has on your major systems. And so that is a way, that's the basic way I can describe how it works.
Okay.
Even some of the other doctors are saying that the amount of quinine that's in like Schweppes tonic water, for example, even though I know it's not the best stuff, it is still a plant-based food-related source that you can get to help preventatively. I suggest not using it until you have come in contact with COVID, because you don't want your body to get too used to the product to where, because with food and with plant-based things, we do get very adaptive with things, especially as long as this pandemic has lasted so far.
Yes.
We have to look forward to more preventative ways. So I would definitely hold on to it until you either come in contact or someone close to you is positive before using it. So that way it stays as potent and as effective as it's been showing.
So it's going to be more effective. The most effective thing I hear you saying that you think is to take the vitamin C, D3, and zinc preventative.
Yes.
And then do you also take the silver preventative?
Oh, yes.
I do.
We do.
Okay.
I use it every day.
Okay, I do too.
More than one way. Yeah.
And then you can get your PQQ supplement
Yes.
and just have it.
Yes.
And should someone get sick, start it then. And that way it's going to, your body's going to go, oh, wait, this is new, and it's going to have the best possible reaction.
So just like we spoke before, where like 1 dropper of silver a day is a good prevention, doing up to 6 is a good treatment. Yes. So the same, by adding just one thing to your protocol kind of shocks the system. So by saving that as the sort of the power hitter, or the Babe Ruth of the protocol, to where you get a good effect, and then upping the others to a treatment dose, like with vitamin C, you can do up to 4,000 a day, with 10,000 with D3, and up to, for women, I would do no more than 50 to 75 milligrams with the zinc. Men can do 100 or more depending on their situation. By upping the milligram and adding the heavy hitter, it gives you, but broken, not all in one dosing. It has to be through the day. Okay. Your body won't fully absorb it and utilize it to its max.
And then I'm assuming that water, just flooding your body with water, is going to
100%. And especially the more, so I know a lot of people like the pH more alkaline water. I would not do high alkaline water. I would do more like 7.5, 7.3 type alkaline. Okay. pH. High alkaline can be a little dangerous. It can almost make things worse versus better.
Okay.
Because you get dependent on it to stay alkaline. And with our bodies being made up of 80% water, and you wanting to stay within that 7.1, 7.5 green zone healing range, you want to make sure that what you're taking matches what you want to achieve. So by having too high alkaline water, you kind of tend to go in the opposite direction. It can be just as dangerous as being too acidic. So that's one to be careful of.
Yes.
The water, but fluids 100%. And no, having tea with water that is good does not equal the same thing as water. Just like having dehydrated vegetables or frozen vegetables is not the same thing as raw. It is different.
Yes. Water is water.
Water is water, yes.
Okay. So I'm just going to clarify real quick before we get ready to wrap this up. So the vitamin C, D3, and zinc, and the silver, you can take a preventative dose, but should you get sick, up the dosages of those and add in the PQQ.
Yes.
Okay.
And there are 2 other forms, as long as the active ingredient is quinine, there are 2 other forms that are equivalent to PQQ. So it's not the only one, just like hydroxychloroquine is not the only one that can do the same thing. That's why I mentioned the Schweppes water or the tonic water. As long as it's a plant-based, food-sourced quinine and not a lab-created or chemically synthesized version, it will do the same thing.
Okay, so as we get ready to wrap up, I want to make sure people know where they can find you and where they can get these supplements. So where are you located?
We're in Old City or downtown Jeff City, right next to the post office on Old AJ, and it's 107 East Old AJ Highway in Jefferson City, Tennessee.
Okay, and
I do have a Facebook page too.
Okay, and it's Hills, HILL apostrophe S, Hills Health Hut.
Yes.
And you take call-in orders, is that correct?
Oh yes, we do phone orders, So I have a way of taking credit cards over the phone, and I'm literally a hop, skip, and a jump away from the post office, so I can mail it the same day. And yeah, we do it all the time. I have half of my customers only get to see me once a year. The rest of the time they call me once a month.
Okay, yeah. Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, was there anything else that you wanted to share before we go?
Oh, the quinine dose is 20 milligrams a day. Too much more than that, you'd be getting too much of a detox.
Okay, and what about some of these others like?
Oh, elderberry. Yes, is another powerhouse. So there is a rumor that elderberry ascorbates quinine, and it is a false rumor.
Okay.
And it's only because, especially with us living in Tennessee, which is the allergy capital of the world, in my opinion, so many people have allergies and sinus issues. Elderberry is one of your strongest friends. That is a food-based way of helping you deal with the sinus pressure, the respiratory issues, as well as any kind of histamine issue that you have, and it pairs very well even daily for preventing, well, I mean, it pairs with the zinc and C daily in prevention as well. So it is a good thing that, like I showed you with the gummy for the kids, yes. If they're going back to school, that 2 before school and maybe 1 after.
Show us those again. Can you show us those again?
Yeah, so it's, the brand is Doctor's Best, and it's elderberry with C and zinc together. Or if you can find them individually, that's fine too, but my kids love them. And that's my protocol for them. They're getting a multi with these 2 and a little fiber before school and 1 after school, as soon as they get to start. And it's a good way of keeping their immune systems up, because elderberry is naturally antiviral. And I think that's why the rumor even got started to begin with, is that it ascorbated. And I was like, does not sound right to me. There is no clinical test that I've found in my research that proves that. So,
okay.
Yeah.
So, you can find Shannon at Hills Health Hut.
Yes.
They are on Facebook. If you've got questions, you can call. You're welcome to contact me. You will hear my website address in just a minute. You can also find me on my Healed page on Facebook. And I truly hope, I know there are those of you out there who feel confident in your health. You're young, you're healthy. There's a lot of people though that are at high risk, and I really hope that you will share this out, because this is something that everyone truly needs to know and have this information right now during this pandemic.
Well, especially with us going into the flu season, this is a good way, in addition to that, to just safeguard against even the flu, because I feel that if we weaken our immune system with a different virus, it just sets us up for contracting the COVID. So this is a good way of helping people get through that season alone, in addition to arming themselves against this new virus.
Yes.
And so it's...
Yes, so everybody needs this. So share it out, share it out, share it out. That's the message.
Yeah.
So I appreciate everybody listening. And Shannon, I appreciate you so much being here with us today and sharing.
This is a godsend for us to meet, for sure. Yeah.
Yes, for sure. Yes. For us and for lots of people who are going to hear this. Yes. Yeah. So thank you so much. And I know that I'll be seeing you soon, and I'm sure some other people who are listening will be getting to meet you as well. If you are listening and you call Shannon or you go in, tell her that you heard her on the Healed podcast. Let her know. Yes. Okay. All right. Well, thank you all, and I hope everyone has a great day, and I will talk to you all next week with another wonderful story. I have a great treat for you next week as well. So tune in next Tuesday. Thanks. Bye-bye.